Okay, so we are now going to look at how to determine if a function is exponential growth or decay, and also finding the rate of growth or decay. So once again, if it's growth, if an exponential function is exponential growth, then my b is going to be greater than 1. So that's the number that's connected to that exponent is going to be greater than 1. If it's decay, my b is going to be between 0 and 1. Okay, so then we have these two different steps. So once again, if it's decay, remember we found what our parenthesis was by doing 1 minus r or 1 plus r if it was growth. So we're going to do the same exact thing, except for now we're trying to find the rate because we aren't given the rate. So we're going to try and solve for the r. So we have what our b is in this case. Before we were filling in 1 plus r and 1 minus r, and we were getting our equations for those word problems. So let's just kind of jump right into these examples, and then we can kind of work through what does this mean and how do we do this. So the first thing, number one, we've got y equals 1,956 times 1.34. So in this case, my A is 1,956. My B is 1.34. Now, because my b is greater than 1, it's going to be exponential growth. My original amount, that's my initial. Original and initial mean the same thing. So my A is 1,956. That's my initial amount. What is the rate of growth? So because it's growth, we want to find what r is. So we would normally do 1 plus r, and then we would get what our b is. So because it's growth, we do 1 plus r, and we're going to set that equal to our b, which is 1.34. All right, so now we want to solve for r, so we're going to minus 1. So we get r is equal to 0.34. Now that's my number, that's my rate, but we want to change that into a percent. So remember, we take that decimal and we move it to the right too. It's 34% growth. Okay, and that's it for number one. Okay, for number two, we've got y equals 15 times 0.456 to the t. So we are going to do A is 15. My b is 0.456. So my b is less than 1. Because it's less than 1, it's decay. What was the original amount? Well, my initial value is 15. What is the rate of growth? So my growth rate is, nope, not growth. It's rate of decay because it's less than 1. So we're going to do 1 minus r this time equals 0.456. All right, now we want to solve for r, so we're going to minus 1. Okay, so we do 0.456 minus 1, and we get negative 0.544 equals, and then there's a negative in front of the r, negative r. And now because they're both negative, multiply by positive, multiply by positive. So my r is equal to 0.544. But remember, I want to make it a percent, so I move that decimal over to 54.4%. Okay. Next one. We've got My A is 4. My B is 0.032. So my B is less than 1, so it's going to be decay. My original amount, my starting amount is 4, my initial value. Now, because my B is less than 1, it's decay. So it's going to be 1 minus R, and we set that equal to my B, which is 0.032. We're going to minus 1 to solve for my R, so 0.032 minus 1. So we get negative 0.968 equals, and remember there's a negative in front of that R, negative R. So we multiply by negative 1, positive, positive. So R is going to equal, move that decimal point over 2 for the percent, 96.8%. All right, last one. Ooh, this one is a little bit tricky. So I want you to check that out, think that over for a second. Okay, so we've got no parentheses, but technically this is like parentheses around the 3 because the 3 is connected to the x. So if we had y equals parentheses 3 to the x, I'm going to just erase then the parentheses around here so we can see what the equation was. What number is technically out in front? Well, it's technically a 1. Remember, if you have like nothing shown, it's technically a 1 times that because then the 1 can disappear. So now my A is 1. My B is 3. Because B is greater than 1, it's going to be growth. My initial amount, or my original amount, A is 1, so it's 1. Now, because it's growth, we're going to do 1 plus R equals my base, which is 3. So I'm going to minus 1. So I get R equals 2. But remember, we want to do that as a percentage, so move the decimal point over to the right too. So it's growing by 200%. Okay, and that's it for this one.